your touch. Oh, it's what I'm
Kimberly Cloud. And today we are discussing fun, innovative things. And that's what kind of show it's going to be today. As usual, we have been discussing innovative things, but I just want to reiterate that anything addressed in this show has not been verified fully. I looked online and it seemed credible, but I don't want to verify it's fully verifiable. So these are just fun, innovative things to discuss. So today I will be talking about innovative things part 2, and let's get started. So we started last week with innovative things, and I wasn't able to go through them all. But today we're going to go through the rest of them, and then we're going to find a different subject for next Friday at 1:30. So let's get started. So the first thing we got is xenotransplantation. So what is xenotransplantation? It's the procedure of transplanting, implementing, or infusing humans with cells, tissues, organs from an animal source. And it has the potential to revolutionize surgery. One of the most common procedures performed so far is the insertion of a pig's heart into a human. This has now successfully happened twice. However, one of the patients was only alive for a few months, and the second is still being observed. What do you think about that, Nathan?
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I had that procedure before. Just kidding. Oh boy, that's really changing things coming into the future. I mean, typically, anytime there's a transplant, it's just from like a matching organ donor from a human to another human, and I can't recall any instances of where they take something from different mammal in the animal kingdom to bring and be used in a person other than, like snake skin, but that's like more for armor and not actual,
Tell me about the snake skin.
Oh, well, they make snake skin like Kevlar armor for police or something like that. They use it for protection, and that's not like a transplant type thing. That's just something you put on your body and wear, and then you can take it off. But for transplant purposes, I've never heard of, other mammals providing or having their organs used for a human's purposes.
Yeah, it seems like it's a great way of canceling the fact that we're using pigs' hearts instead of trying to find a human heart on the donors list. You know what I mean? And we can come across a pig or animal like quicker than a human, because humans pass away and expire, but it's just that it's quicker to find a pig on site than a human, because you have to go through a list of stuff. Now the cool thing about this is the heart cannot be instantly put into the human. Gene editing needs to take place first. Certain genes need to be knocked out of the heart, and human genes need to be added, mainly around the immune acceptance and genes to prevent excessive growth of heart tissue. And right now, these surgeries are risky, and there's no certainty around success. However, in the near future, they can see xenotransplants happening on a regular basis, providing hearts or tissues from animals or animals to humans in need of it. Do you think this is a good idea, or do you think this is,
I think it's just going to be something like somebody had this great idea where in the end it just wasn't realistically possible. I think there's going to be a case of
cancel?
Well, yeah, because everybody, our systems were designed very specifically, and a pig has a completely different body ecosystem. I don't know what the correct word is for that, but that heart wants to pump blood for the structure of a pig, instead of, a human. I mean, our bodies are just completely different. So I just can't see it being something to be done for. It's like taking a little car and trying to tow a big trailer or something. I mean, like
Putting a little
they're,
car
I
engine
mean,
into a big,
yeah, the
yeah.
pig's heart is designed to pump blood in a pig's body, not a human body. And then you could even say, like, if you went from a pig to a dog, I mean, there's another. It's even though they're closer in relationship as far as like the structure of the body goes, it's still, not designed for that system. Kind of like how humans have like particular blood types, and you can only provide blood for uh, donations if you're a specific blood type, or you can only receive blood type donations from a specific blood type. I mean, it's got to be compatible. So
Yeah.
I
And
think
they're
going
working
from
on
a
that process, but it's just that it sounds to me, Nathan, like you want to say, let's just put that on hold. That's nothing important right now.
Let's leave the pig hearts to the pigs.
Yes, yes. And so I have another one. AI image generation. As artificial intelligence continues to perform jobs just as well as humans, there is a new industry to add to the list, the world of art. Researchers in company OpenAI have created software that will be able to create images from worded prompts. You will get a dog wearing a cowboy hat singing in the rain, and you'll get a host completely original images that fit into that description. You can even choose what style of art you requested, and it will to come back in. However, the technology isn't perfected and still has issues. Like, for instance, when they gave poor prompts to designing cartoon characters. This technology is known as Dolly and is a second iteration, and the team behind it plans on continuing to develop it further. In the future, we could see this technology used to create art exhibitions for companies to quick original illustrations or course to revolutionize the way we create memes on the internet. So basically, you can use this Dolly to create different images.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? Is this something that need to be
I've seen
paused?
AI in works before, and I was just joking with some of my friends about AI creating like how-to instructionals for different things, like mounting a TV, and another one was for cooking an egg, like a sunny side up egg, and it always gets something wrong. Like on the mount the TV one, it put up the TV backwards, so the panel which you see, all the images are displayed, are against the wall, and in the back of the TV is facing the room on there. So,
Oh.
I mean, AI, it's really good at generating things and listening, but trying to come up on things on its own, it often gets things wrong. I mean, I've seen some AI generated images where somebody's hand has 6 fingers or something like that, or it's just abnormally shaped. I mean, it can bring out really good concepts. It can kind of help you see what your concept is going to look like. But in the end, you're going to have to go through and then fine tune or maybe use that as the foundation or
Yeah.
concept, like I said, for your work. So, like, okay, now I can actually see a visual representation on the screen rather than just in my head. And I can use that as my inspiration for this image or help me come up with ideas. But I'm never going to use that AI type imagery for my end result, just because I know it doesn't have my personality or my complete mindset when producing this image or content.
Yeah, I feel like it's a machine learning algorithm. So
Mm-hmm.
so basically in the beginning it's gonna mess up, but I feel like it I think that, it it works. I heard of this one instance where somebody had took a picture where there was like a whole bunch of people, and like you said, some people weren't even situated and pivoted towards the speaker. It was like they weren't looking, and it was just all everywhere. So I get what you're saying when you said that it can be misrepresented.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is a good idea, like, 10 years down the road when it's the learned 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
But imagine, AI, this is the infancy stages, and imagine AI when 10 years, go past, how it's going to, how fast it's going to be at creating things. But I'm pretty sure it may have hiccups too as well.
Yeah, I kind of think of AI as like an infant socializing into
I
the
like
world,
that.
know?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
learning from its experiences as it's growing up and then taking all those into account. And it'll be socially constructed is what AI is. And I, lost my train of thought for a second, but
Okay.
AI, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, the more specific you can be with it, the better it is at generating content. Like, let's say, generate a script for a radio show on financial investments. And that, I mean, it'll give you all sorts of things. It'll be very broad. But if you get more specific, like financial investments within the stock market or real estate or U.S. Treasury bills or something like that. I mean, then the more specific you are, the better fine-tuned it'll be to what you want to have and creating that foundation. But
I
in
agree.
the end, you're just always going to have to go through and tweak it or use it as the inspiration.
I agree.
But don't rely on
So
it
we'll keep it.
solely to do all the work for you.
I
That's
agree.
just not going to happen.
I think that if people rely on artificial intelligence to do all the work, their brain will not think, and then they will be dependent, on this technology, and they won't have a time to think and let those neurons start firing up, and
Right.
I feel like, we need to backtrack. This is a tool to help us, but not to we be dependent on it, forever,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Like it won't know all the tried and true, alternatives or solutions for your case. It's just not going to.
I agree. So now we have 3D printed bone implant. 3D printing is an industry promising everything from a cheap house building through to affordable rugged armor. But one of the most interesting uses of the technology is building the 3D printed bones. The company Aussiform specializes in medical 3D printing, creating patent specific replacements of different bones from tricalcium phosphate, a material with similar properties to human bones. Using these 3D material bones is surprisingly easy. A doctor or a hospital can perform an MRI and then send it to Aussiform, who create a 3D model for the patent-specific implant that is needed. The surgeon accepts the design, and then once it's printed, it can be used in surgery. What is special about the 3D printed bones is that because of the use of tricalcium phosphate, the body will remodel implants into a vascularized bone. That means that they will enable the full restoration of function that the bone is replacing had. To achieve the best integration possible, the implants are of a porous structure and feature large pores and canals for cells to attach and reform bone. What do you think about that?
Oh, we already do,
Sort of.
like, hip replacements or shoulder replacements and things like that. So it's already being done. What I can see with this is the precision. I mean, they probably use like molds and stuff like that and before, or like prosthetics legs and stuff like that. But with the 3D printer, I mean, they can be more fine tuned to your body's structure and like exact fit of what you'll need, and be able to program that 3D printer to take whatever material it is and formulate this replacement part of your body to be put in, rather than having to get, custom molds or something like that. I think it'll be a quicker process. I mean, of course, 3D printing takes a long time, but now you don't need to go out and get these special molds created and things like that, or try to find one that's the closest possible fit. Now you could probably make an exact fit.
I agree. I think that this is definitely something important because you know usually they have like titanium. I know they got 3D
Hmm.
prints of other things, but
Yeah, it's not just plastic that can be 3D printed. I've seen, like metals be,
oh, get out of
yeah,
here.
I believe, yeah, you can, as long as you have the proper machine and
Gotcha.
stuff like that. And of course, metal can be melted down, and then it'll do the 3D printing, and then it hardens. I don't know exactly how 3D printing works, but I know there is more than just, plastic that can possibly be 3D printed.
Okay. And basically, these 3D printers does a lot, like you can, like if you're missing something, or some type of bone is missing, you can do it. I know that there's like more, that we can do, but this can happen for those who need it, like probably, amputation or something, or it can grow for the future in like history. I think that this is a really good thing towards helping people. I don't, to be quite honest, it doesn't really, it says full restoration of function that the bone is replacing have, but if you have like an amputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
They take away skin too, or are they going to cut open the skin, take out the bone, and then manipulate the other bone into that skin? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing I have an issue with the full replacement is like, bones can regenerate. But if you have this replacement thing, like let's say you break a bone, I just don't know how it could be regenerating if it's still artificial. I mean, did they say it's like artificial materials that are being used to create these replacement joints or whatever, or
They didn't give
bones?
much information. And that's why I'm glad, these are just fun, innovative,
Yeah.
things, because it basically says 3D printed bones is that because of the use of I like the fact that they use tricalcium phosphate. We have calcium phosphate.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, but the body will remodel implants in a vascularized bone. Vascularized means that it comes, like they said, it has all the holes in it to put the cells and different things to help grow the bone, but I just don't see how. I don't really like this one because
Yeah.
I don't see how the bone without skin will replace, because if you amputate somebody, they take off the skin and the bone. But if they're doing surgery, then maybe they'll just cut a long line into the skin and take out the bone surgically and then replace the bone. I don't know.
Yeah, because like when you get a broken bone or you fracture something, they put on a cast and then it heals itself or regenerates
Correct.
itself. But if you have, like, let's say one of these artificial bone replacements that was 3D printed, then if you break that, I would assume you probably just have to schedule a surgery for them to print you a new one, and then they just replace it with that, which could potentially be easy
Oh,
because,
yeah,
you would
touche.
have that model saved into the system so they could just
Yeah.
print you up a new one and schedule a surgery a little bit more streamlined since they don't need to hold on to all those molds and, maybe seek out a similar uh, replacement.
I agree. But I just feel like it has to be important if they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I never, turn my head the other way on different innovations. It's just that it's a little confusing because I'm trying to figure out, how they replace that bone. But like you said, they could replace it the way you just said, and
Mm-hmm.
that could be true too.
Because I know there's like artificial hands, which are made out of metal, and they can actually take the signals from your brain waves or your nervous system or whatever, and the motors in that artificial hand can actually be controlled by you through your whatever signals your body is sending to the hand. And so you can actually have it function like a hand. It's just instead of being made out of bone, flesh, and blood, it's metals
Yeah,
and
that's pretty
motors.
cool. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is really cool, anything for the people who are struggling, have a chopped off leg or a leg that has been severely damaged, and need rehabilitation and everything, you can replace it, do that, but I truly am a little confused, but I just feel like, like you said, the metal hand could move itself, based on the impulses that react with the brain,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I like it. I like, whatever they coming out with, keep coming out, because I don't know where I'll be in the next 10 years. I could lose something.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Mm-hmm.
Knock on the but moving on. So we got natural language processing. Natural language processing is the big new trend taking over the internet. While you've mostly likely seen it in use of Google's autocomplete software, or when your smartphone offers a prediction of what you're trying to type, it's capable of much smarter things. OpenAI is a company that is forefront of artificial intelligence, originally taking over the internet by storm with its image generator Dolly 2. Now back making a chat box, which we talked about before, known as Chat GPT, creating poems from scratch, explaining complex theories with ease, and having full length conversations as a human. What do you think about that? And I got a good
So
one
when you're
for
saying like
yeah.
language processing, are you talking about like the different world languages like Chinese, English, French, German, or et
Dependent
cetera?
if
Or you
Chat GPT is out there in like Japan or Tokyo, Japan, I feel like they probably use Chat GPT in their language, or
yeah.
you can probably manipulate it by talking to it to talk in a different language.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I'm just thinking of like, like real time translations. I'm just I guess multi-language processing, it's a pretty broad phrase. So just trying to narrow it down to what their goals are for multi-language processing, because it sounds like, I mean, it's the communication between the user and then the AI that's uh
Multi-language mean probably if you begin to talk to them in a certain language, they'll talk back in that certain language. Do you think that could be what
it
it
could
is?
be like, like urban slang or something
Yeah.
like that. It'll sort of develop like a dialect or a personality or uh what's the word, like a demographic within like you grew up with?
You know, I feel like Chat GPT is a good thing, but at the same time, like we explained before, like two questions down the line, if you over abuse it, you have no use for your brain. A
Mm-hmm.
brain is smarter than AI. Um, it may not seem like it, but it is. I've read that it's very smarter than AI.
Yeah.
And
I mean, whenever you get a new technology, uh, there's like, the extension of mankind, which is, something that helps the human body go beyond its natural limits, like binoculars or eyeglasses. And then there's like, I think the other one is like amputation of humankind. So, like, when you have these new things, it's your body, you know, forgets things. Like, when automatic vehicles came out, automatic transmissions, people just forgot how to drive manual, where in the past everybody knew how to drive a manual. So, I mean, it could still be taught, but the knowledge base or the ability is not quite as present there anymore in that particular realm now that the new technologies or extensions have been implemented.
I think the extension of having AI is a useful tool, but
Hmm.
like I said, it just isn't.
Like problem solving skills would, go down, or maybe your creative side of your brain will go down just because you're having something else do that for you.
I agree. In your imaginative side, or
Hmm.
whatever helps you create, like an artist.
Yeah.
You don't see artists out here trying to get help with how to draw something. Like for instance, you don't tell Chat GPT, well, how do you draw this artistic? No, they think about it, and a thought comes to mind in their imagination, and then it creates this
Right.
thing. And the last thing, you were talking about it a couple of weeks ago.
Hmm.
Boom free supersonic flight.
Oh, yeah. We got to
NASA.
get through this quickly, though, because we're just about out of time.
Oh well, we'll start with that one and begin. We'll start with that one next week.
Okay, so everybody, there's your teaser for next week's show.
Yes. So I just wanted to say thank you and Merry Christmas to you all. I hope that you all don't eat too much turkey. Y'all take care, be safe, and I will see y'all next time.
And Merry Christmas to you, too, Kimberly.
Merry Christmas to you,
It's
Nathan.
the most wonderful time of the year, and we'll see you before the new year, so we won't wish you that yet. But either way, happy holidays, whatever you may be celebrating.
Thank you.
Never waste my time.